So good morning. Thank you for inviting me to speak today. It's a pleasure to be here in India and a privilege to address an important group of leaders from industry, government, academia and civil society. Yesterday, our Minister Field, set out the UK government's ambition to build a free, open and secure cyberspace for all. Today, I would like to talk a bit about how the UK's new National Cyber Security Centre is responding to that challenge. The National Cyber Security Centre, known as the NCSC, was established a year ago as part of a new overall national cyber security strategy in the UK. It brought together different elements of government, parts of GCHQ, parts of MI5, as well as CERT UK. It establishes a single lead authority on cyber security across government, critical national infrastructure, defence, the wider economy and society. The NCSC's primary aim is to secure UK interests in cyberspace. We use the phrase UK interests deliberately. Geography, as you all know, is irrelevant on the internet. Our digital economies, lives and societies, as well as our security, are intertwined with others all over the globe. India is a key partner, and the UK will never be safe online unless we can work together with Indian partners to ensure and build collective cybersecurity for our citizens and our businesses. We mark the NCSC's first anniversary this week, and we've published an annual review on our website, ncsc.gov.uk. I invite you to have a look at it. It contains a lot of interesting statistics on the nature of the threat that we faced and the range of activities that we've been involved in. It also includes information on our successes in blocking malicious activity in the UK with some innovative active cyber defence measures. But rather than try and read out this document to you, I thought what I'd speak about this morning is the experience of leading the NCSC's operational work over the last year. And I want to focus on two key principles that I think have underpinned some of our successes. Those are integration and collaboration. That is, integration of effort across government and then collaboration with the private sector and international partners. First, something on the cybersecurity threats we have experienced in the UK. It's easy to say cybersecurity threats are growing rapidly, evolving ever more quickly and becoming more and more damaging. I think I said that myself yesterday for any of you at the panel. Since the NCSC was established, though, we are now the lead UK government agency in responding to cybersecurity incidents. So we now have the data, and I have the grey hairs to demonstrate how the threats have been increasing. 18 months ago, we were experiencing approximately one serious cyber incident per month. That is an incident that affects government or critical national infrastructure and requires a cross-government response, up to and including the UK government's COBRA crisis management system. In its first year, the NCSC has dealt with 30 such incidents. So that's now 2 or 3 per month that we are dealing with many of those targeting not just individual organisations, but hundreds, if not thousands, of organisations at the same time. Supply chain compromises, such as those known in industry reporting as Cloudhopper, have been significant challenges for us. And we experienced our first major disruptive cyber attack in the UK in May this year, when a WannaCry ransomware virus affected the computers of over 47 National Health Service trusts. Due to the heroic efforts of the NHS staff reverting back to manual processes, thankfully patients were not seriously affected by the attack. NCSC management of the incident helped the NHS limit the damage and quickly restore services back to normal, but I'll say a little bit more about that towards the end. Perhaps the most worrying type of attack we've experienced this year, as in other countries, is the use of malicious cyber capabilities to undermine our democratic processes, such as in hack and leak operations that steal private data and then expose it for political purposes, or attempts to disrupt the process of holding free and fair elections and to cast the results into doubt. Just as we completed a general election in the UK in June this year, the networks of our parliament were subjected to a repeated series of intrusion attempts that can only be explained by an attempt to gain information for political purposes. Cyberspace has given our adversaries a greater reach and a wider range of hostile techniques to target even our society's core values. How is the NCSC responding to the threats to the UK? The first key principle I mentioned is about integration of effort across government. We talk about information sharing, about coordinated responses and bringing scarce skills to bear on acute cybersecurity threats. But if government is not sharing information and working together, including classified information, if we're not working seamlessly across government agencies, then there is no way we can provide the leadership on cyber threats that is needed. So one of the key drivers for the establishment of the NCSC in the UK was the question, who leads the UK government's response to a cyber attack? There used to be an alphabet soup of government organisations that had a role, and we were all expected to play nicely together. Any military officer will tell you that kind of arrangement just doesn't work very well when you're under hostile attack. Cyber threats originate from adversaries intent on doing us harm, whether they are cyber criminals, state-sponsored, or terrorists. Cyberspace is the new domain for geopolitical rivalries. But again, as I said yesterday, one of the things that concerns me most is the prospect of terrorist groups gaining truly disruptive cyber capabilities. They operate without moral constraint. These are national security threats and they require government leadership. In the UK, we have integrated the UK government's cybersecurity expertise into the NCSC to provide that authoritative leadership, both in improving cybersecurity and responding to cyber incidents. The second key principle, though, and one that is talked about at every cybersecurity conference, is collaboration. Governments cannot tackle cybersecurity threats alone. Industry runs the internet. Companies manage their own networks. Academia and civil society all have an important role to play if we want a free and open internet as well as a secure one. So the question is not whether we should collaborate, it's about how, as a government agency, do we collaborate and do that effectively. The NCSC is a part of the UK government's national security structures, but we knew right from the beginning that we would not be effective if we sat behind high fences and classified all of our information as top secret. Our new headquarters in London, in a modern commercial premise, is a visible sign of our commitment to be open and accessible to those that we are set up to serve. We have an initiative called the Industry 100. This is an attempt to get 100 employees of industry to come and work with us within the NCSC as members of staff. They will bring domain expertise with them. Who knows telecom sector networks better than a telecoms engineer? But they also provide a constant reminder that we need to break out of a government mindset, that we need to service what is predominantly a corporate world. And it's not just large technology companies that we want to collaborate with. Often the smaller cybersecurity startups have some of the best ideas to contribute. This openness, this desire for collaboration extends internationally. We are searching the world for ideas and partnerships to tackle cybersecurity threats together. We have established strong operational partnerships in places where the UK has previously not had interaction on security issues. As I said, geography is irrelevant on the internet, and even if a nation's missiles can't reach us, their malware certainly can. So I have no excuse to give to my minister if the NCSC's collaboration is not up to scratch, particularly with a long-standing partner and a global IT player like India. I'll finish by giving an example of how this integration and collaboration feels like in practice. So it's mid-afternoon on Friday the 12th of May, and the TV screens start blaring out the news that hospitals in the UK have been subjected to cyber attack. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but it's always Friday afternoon when these things happen, just as everybody else has gone off for the weekend. So we're in our crisis management centre, and everyone from the Prime Minister down wants to know what's going on, and they're now looking at the NCSC to provide them with the answers. The first priority is to gather information about what's going on. We reach out to law enforcement partners who have officers engaging the hospitals all over the country. We get our first malware samples from the NHS IT security team. Within hours, this is followed up by international partners sharing technical information from the similar attacks that they are facing. Our NCSC email inbox is almost DDoSed. It's not malicious, it's industry partners reaching out to us saying, we have information, we want to help. The key focus is about gathering that information from all those sources to understand what is going on, so we can provide ministers with an accurate picture and we can work out how to contain the damage. There was a screen on the wall, and I don't know if you saw it. There was a map that a company put up which was counting the number of WannaCry victims as they were occurring, and the number got faster and faster and faster, like it was never going to stop. It didn't turn out to be cyber Armageddon, but at that one point in the evening, I was starting to think that this might be what it feels like. So at 10 o'clock at night, I look around the crisis management centre where we're working. So in one corner, there's John, who's a computer science graduate from Cambridge, who's analysing the WannaCry malware. At another desk, Mark, who has a PhD in maths, is looking at the way the encryption works to see if there's a way of decrypting it without having to pay the ransom. At the incident handling desk, we've got Chris, who's a former army soldier. He's managing the flow of information between multiple stakeholders. We have Claire, who's an intrusion analyst. She's sitting at her desk generating information from UK's national security capabilities. And David, who is a technical expert in network security, is working out what the NHS should do to contain and mitigate the damage to their networks. So in the middle of this, Alex runs in. He has information from an industry partner that they have discovered a domain name in the malware that acts as a kill switch when registered. Suddenly, that display with a number of victims starts to slow down. The integrated efforts of those people in that room allowed us to understand what was happening, to stop the spread of the malware within the UK, to prevent new infections, and to start mitigating some of the damage to the systems. We got our advice out to the NHS. We got it out to other UK organisations through information sharing platforms and through our website. Our CEO, Kieran Martin, gives TV interviews to reassure the public and to promote our advice. And we shared back with industry and international partners what we were doing. Those staff, John, Mark, Chris, Claire, David and Alex, none of them are over 30 years old, but they all had crucial technical skills and a dedication to the mission which was vital on that evening. They are the future of cybersecurity. At one point that night, the most useful thing a senior manager could do was order takeaway pizza to keep them fed whilst they were working. So leadership in that scenario is about making the most of those scarce skills and expertise, integrating their efforts by putting them in the same room and getting them to work together, and giving them the opportunity to collaborate with industry and internationally. So I look forward to connecting their brilliant minds with similar talent here in India. Thank you for listening.